What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different than we usually do. Today we're talking about why people are actually moving out of Florida instead of in. Let's get right into this one. If you are new to the channel, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shandon Kiah. I'm a licensed agent here in the state of Florida and a local resident of St. Petersburg. I'm super excited to have you guys tuning back into today's video. So before we begin, be sure to go down, like, comment, and hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you never miss an upload on the Living in Tampa Bay channel. As your local Tampa Bay real estate advisor, I would be honored to earn your real estate business and help you achieve those real estate goals in 2025. So I'm going to drop my contact information on screen so you can get in touch. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. You might be thinking, there's actually people moving out of Florida. Yes, there are. But for the past 4 or 5 years, we've seen a huge influx of people moving from out of state into Florida for several reasons, which we're going to get into right now. The first thing that comes to mind when I think people are moving out of Florida is going to be the education system. The education system in Florida is not the greatest amongst other states, and I think one of the main reasons is because Florida is a state that prioritizes athletics over education, and for that reason, a lot of the school systems suffer. Now, this will, of course, vary depending on what school district you end up in. There are, of course, some A-rated, A-plus rated schools in the Tampa Bay area that you can get into. However, as the population continues to grow, a lot of these schools have wait lists for students that can get in. Now, while there may be some charter and private school opportunities, they will be very limited compared to other major metro areas across the country. And in addition to that, the schools that do have a higher standard of academics are going to be a little more costly opposed to their public counterpart. Now, another one of the reasons people are moving out of Florida is because of the weather. Now, I'm sure you're used to hearing people moving to Florida because of the weather, but in this past summer where we've had several hurricanes and tropical storms, that has shifted people's perspective on what great weather looks like here in Florida. With the past 2 hurricanes, Milton and Helene, it brought devastating damage to various parts of Tampa Bay, including St. Petersburg and Tampa, as well as further south in Bradenton and Sarasota. So after that, people have become a little more weary of properties on the coast, areas on the coast that may be subject to flooding. And if storms weren't enough, the heat down here in Florida is brutal, and I mean brutal. During the summers, it can get above 100 degrees, and then even when it's not summer, you're still looking at 80 plus weather all year round. Now, me personally, I do like to layer up and wear a nice jacket or tracksuit, but in Florida, I don't have that privilege to do so as much. Right now it's like a cool 70, so I can pull this off. But if you're one of those people like me who like to layer up, wear more clothes, wear their winter coats, then Florida is definitely not the place for you. And there have been several people who have moved in here within the past couple years who are now moving out because the heat is just intolerable. Another major reason people are moving out of Florida is due to cultural and community differences. Now, in the past, I've heard that Tampa Bay has been much more slower paced. The outskirts and suburbs of Tampa were very rural, and now they've undergone complete redevelopment, and there's new construction everywhere, multiple suburbs popping up all over Tampa Bay, and it's just a much different place than it used to be 10 years ago. Today, Tampa is much more fast paced, and it's even starting to get the same way over here in St. Petersburg. So if you're someone who's not quite ready for the hustle and bustle of an upcoming metro area, then Tampa Bay might not be the place for you. However, you can push out to the outskirts in areas like Lakeland, Ocala, and even further south, a little bit north of Fort Myers, where you could still find that. But overall, the Tampa Bay area is growing rapidly in popularity. Lots of entrepreneurs, lots of businesses bringing their business here, and it's creating a much faster paced environment. Now, when it comes to culture, Tampa Bay is very similar to other major metro areas. St. Petersburg especially has an insane cultural diversity, and you can find just about any culture here in this city. It's a huge melting pot of cultures from all walks of life, which is one thing I love. However, there are certain people who just can't accept certain things. And if you're someone who's not as liberal, then you might not appreciate the cultural diversity here in this city. Now, with that being said, I feel like it's important to know I do not judge anyone for their cultural beliefs or practices. I think it's a beautiful thing for people to practice whatever they want. However, there are some people who just don't understand that, and it's kind of pushed them away. I know here in St. Petersburg, there's a huge LGBTQ plus community, and for some people, they don't appreciate or understand that, and it's forced them to move out of those areas or neighborhoods. Another thing people are really passionate about is politics. And I do want to say, I do not swing either way. I don't even vote, but to each their own in their political beliefs. This is something people tend to be very passionate about, and it can ultimately lead them to make an emotional decision on where they want to end up living. And here in Florida, Florida is extremely right. It's extremely red, extremely Republican, whatever you'd like to call it. But that is the environment we're surrounded with. And there are a lot of people I know, even past clients, who have moved out of state simply for that reason. Again, at the end of the day, I do not have a personal preference on politics. I try not to let those kinds of things affect my day-to-day, but there's some people who feel differently. For me, it's all about doing the actions necessary to best benefit me and my future family. When it comes to community, for me, what's most important is surrounding myself with like-minded people who share the same values. And while it might not be 100% of one thing here in Tampa Bay or in Florida in general, wherever you live, you can find your groups of people. They are out there. It's just a matter of surrounding yourself with them and making sure you keep your circle tight. The last thing I wanted to mention about why people are moving out of Florida is going to be the taxes and insurance. So post-COVID, so after 2020, property taxes have gone up immensely in all parts of Florida. And to make it even worse, especially after the hurricanes, acquiring insurance in Florida has become much harder, and even when you do acquire it, it is way more expensive than it used to be in recent years. One of the things that has enticed people to move to Florida is that there's no state tax, but you best believe that Uncle Sam is going to find a way to get his money some way, somehow, and here in Florida, it's through property taxes and insurance. And again, I've spoken with several past clients and people in my community who have had people, family, friends move out of Florida because they just couldn't handle the rising insurance and property taxes. Now, there's a plethora of reasons why someone might move into or out of a state, but these are just some of the main ones. If you have questions or are thinking about making the transition to Florida, I would love to get in touch with you. I can even send you my relocation guide that's going to give you all the steps necessary to plan your best trip here to the Tampa Bay area. Again, I am a licensed agent here in the state of Florida, so if you have questions or real estate goals, I'd be honored to answer them or help you out. I'm going to drop my contact information on screen one more time so you can get in touch. But with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for today. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload on the Living in Tampa Bay channel. Peace.